What's going on, guys? Hope you're doing well. Roy, how are you doing? Are you with us, Roy? How's everyone doing in the chat? Uh, what's up, Orlando? Forza Milan. What's up, Marion? What's up, Edison? Christian Pasmino. Guys, there's a lot of news today. Today was a big news day. I was busy for most of the day, but I was getting the notifications.
I'm
and
here. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Roy? How are you doing?
Good. Keep on going.
Yeah, so we have a lot of news today. It seems like the Mercato is really starting to show itself, and we have some pretty strong leads as to what Milan might do. Again, though, this you don't. It's not over until it's over. Nothing is official until you see that everything is finally done with Milan, because that stuff always changes. And I think the Mercato opens, I think, what, July 1st. Um, I believe. But yeah, there's already deals that are basically being done right now. And the first piece of news, the guy that we were discussing yesterday, uh, Joshua Zirkzee, this was the biggest news of the day. Romano tweeted, and I will say this, Romano, you can hate him for being a tap-in merchant, but the thing about Romano is that when he does post something, there is like some serious interest, and it means that it's very legit because he has his reputation. He's not going to post stuff that's like a bunch of chatter. And this is what he says: AC Milan informed Bologna that they are planning to trigger Zirkzee's 40 million release clause. And now the talks are ongoing between Milan and Zirkzee to agree on personal terms, which is the crucial point. Zirkzee is happy to stay in Italy and very excited about Milan's project. So basically, the club negotiations, which typically are the hardest part for Milan, well, not always, but they're usually difficult, have been avoided because Milan is just willing to pay 40 million and get that release clause activated and get him. Now, the crucial point is, can they agree to a deal on personal terms? The problem that I'm hearing, that we're seeing, is that his agents are asking for this commission, and Milan does not want to pay, I think, around 15 million in commission. So that's kind of what is stalling this deal. But I will say this: if you make the decision to pay the release clause, I mean, with a bit of negotiating, I think it's extremely likely that we get Zirkzee. This is the first time that Milan has just straight up triggered a release clause like this. And I mean, unless something like really just breaks down in the conversation, then, I think that everything should go forward here. Eventually, they're going to strike a deal. And it looks like he's by far the most likely striker. I mean, Longo's been saying it for a while. The club does like him. Another thing that's being said is that Ibrahimovic has been involved in this, and that he's been supportive of this move and has been helping to move this along. So, yeah, it looks like Milan, the management and the hierarchy, and the money ball, maybe everything is going in favor of Zirkzee, and it looks like he's got the confidence now of the club. So he's the number one choice, guys, and it could be done soon. Roy, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have a few thoughts on this. So first of all, my question is this. Now, we've encountered these kind of scenarios before where, the agent was asking too much in commissions. For example, Kessie, that was an example, right? But other teams pay for these commissions, right? I mean, Barcelona paid Kessie's agents commissions when they got Kessie, and other teams do pay these commissions. I wonder why Milan is so reluctant to pay these commissions to the agents. This is something that I just trying to understand why. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know what difference it makes. I don't understand. The other teams pay for the commissions, right? I'm only seeing this thing about Milan not paying for. It's just a Milan thing. Now, whether or not, so the operation is going to be 50 million if it goes through, including the agent fees. So the question is this a good price for Zirkzee? and that's something to be pondered about. I think ultimately, I think yes. I think yes. Yeah, the Goulart commission also. Thank you for reminding me, Edison. Real Madrid just paid the Goulart commission. I think 50 million total is yes, because a player like Zirkzee at his age, we saw, for example, Holman from Atalanta. He had a decent season with Atalanta, nothing else, and Manchester United paid 70 million for him. So I think that the release clause really helps us out. The release clause really helps us out. It is an opportunity that we can't afford to lose because of this release clause, and also because the player really likes Italy. Um, he likes the idea of playing with Milan. He likes the idea of having Ibra there. He likes the idea of staying in Italy and progressing in Italy one step at a time. So that all these things go towards our favor. I think the price is actually very good, but it's lucky just because of that release clause. Otherwise, his price would be much higher. And then the other question I have, and I want to know what people think in chat about his price and you, Antonio. But the other question I have also is, how much of a difference is it going to be if he's going to be the replacement of Giroud? Like, how much is going to really change as far as output? You know, what is the difference? Is he really enough? That's a question. Because if he's just replacing Giroud, then is the output really going to be that different as far as numbers? I don't know. If he is a piece of a puzzle, and there's another piece to this puzzle that is going to hopefully play in front of him or even next to him, I think it will be a great operation. So, two questions for the chat and for Antonio. Is his price good? What do you guys think? And if he is the sole player to replace Giroud, how much of a difference is it going to really be at the end of the day? Antonio, what do you think?
Yeah, that's good. Those are two of the most important questions. For the price, if you're talking about 50 million with the 10 million commissions, who knows if the exact number, but I think that's a. I mean, especially for how expensive strikers are going, I would say that that would be towards the upper end of what I would pay, but it's still a good. It's a reasonable price overall. I think I would not go above 60 for him. So I would be fine paying that. You also have to consider that with our budget. Okay, now let's assume that we don't sell any players. If we have 100 million total, you're spending half, but you're spending half on one of the most important positions, or the most important position, because you need to fix the striker position right now. So, I mean, you could probably get Thiago Santos or a right back for like 10 to 15, and then you would have to sort of look around, maybe get Hummels for free as a center back, or try to get like an affordable center back. And then you also have Fofana or whatever, which I want to discuss, or whatever, other defensive midfielder they get. So it is a little bit like restrictive of the 100 million, but I mean, that isn't including any sales as well. Oh, and also you can consider whatever happens with CDK and Saelemaekers that might affect it as well. So I think overall that's just about as like as high we should go. I mean, if we really have that budget, because we have a few positions that we want to address, but I think that it's definitely like good, and I don't have any complaints with it. So I agree that it's a pretty fine price, especially for how expensive things are these days. And on my take, I actually wanted to discuss this as well. Let's look a bit. We all know, which by the way, Zirkzee was part of the Bayern Munich treble-winning team, which is crazy with his trophy cabinet. But yeah, he has
How
11.
old is he? How old is he?
He's 23, and he just turned
Okay.
23.
Okay.
So
Okay.
and he won best young player in Serie A this year, I think, or something. He won some sort of like award.
And he doesn't play like a young player. He plays very intelligent football beyond his age.
Yeah. So in total in the Serie A and the Coppa Italia, he had 12 goals and 7 assists. So okay,
That's total. That's total.
yeah, in all comps. And
All
just
right. So this is where I asked that question. What is the difference with Giroud, really?
yeah, he scored less goals than Giroud. Now, I think that question also is dependent on the manager because we also have to. I mean, okay, if you think that Fonseca will play as a carbon copy of Pioli, then fair enough. But it depends on how he manifests and if he changes things or if he plays players differently and how much he changes. So I think it also it remains to be seen what's going to happen with the striker position. We also saw what happened with Jonathan David, and we saw that David scored. I think maybe David might be a slightly better pure finisher because he does have a few nice finishes. Whereas Zirkzee doesn't always have the cleanest finishes, but he can create the space for himself, and he's better at doing that. But in terms of the pure finish, he's not the best. Maybe he can still improve. Jonathan David is a bit, in my opinion, from what I've seen, is a bit of a better finisher. He scored, I think, 20 goals or more this year for Fonseca and Lille. They were also in Europe as well, so you can consider that. I think, and he had a really good year individually with Fonseca. So, and we also saw in that tactical video that we watched that he likes to get involved in the build-up play and drop deep. And I think that Zirkzee can do a similar thing, although they're, not exactly the same player. So I think there's a lot that remains to be seen in terms of what actually manifests, but I think that it's there. I don't think it's like, yeah, we can compare the goals between him and Giroud and we can say, okay, will he be able to top that? I think Giroud had a solid year. If we can get 15, almost 20 goals in all competitions from Zirkzee, yes, he's not like a world class striker level that scores 20 plus. But I think for his first year with Milan, it wouldn't be the end. It would be okay, and it would be a pretty solid year. At least you know that you can build on that the next year. And I think that he has the capabilities of doing that. But again, ideally, I've always said this. I would get. I think he is best maybe in a two-man striker formation. I do see him linking up with the wingers a lot better, and I do see that he has more ability to maybe stretch the defensive line than Giroud. Although he isn't really much of like an in behind player, but I think he's a bit more mobile, and he can at least turn away from people instead of just kind of sticking to one spot and laying off the ball like Giroud does. He can probably try to jump a man and then play a forward pass to one of the wingers. We have good wingers, so I think that he can maybe get more from the wingers in the build-up play, maybe add another dimension in the build-up play, and that's kind of what remains to be seen on how efficient our attack is with Fonseca. But we know that he likes to attack, so I think that it's an interesting move, and there's no guarantees it could not. There's possibilities that it's not going to work out perfectly, but there's
Okay,
also a lot of ups.
so let's actually. I want to address this comment here. I feel that his performance this season is because of the work of Thiago Motta. I'm not confident that other coaches will be able to show his abilities like Motta did. Well, one thing is, let's just talk about tangibles. It really depends on how he is played. If his job is to do more or less the same thing he was doing under Thiago Motta, in theory, he should have more or less the same kind of season. But if he's asked to do something different, maybe that's something different he's not very good at. But in my opinion, if he's asked to do the false nine role, which he was doing with Thiago Motta, he comes deep, he play makes, and then he attacks space. And also, he also does attack space if he has to. If he is deployed exactly that way, then in theory, he should be the same player. I mean, that's how it usually works.
Yeah. Also, want to point out on transfer market, if you look at the value here, which I can show up, they're giving him a value of exactly 50 million, and usually transfer market undervalues. Um,
Yeah.
it depends on the player, but they usually like if a player is worth a lot of money, they don't put him like they're not going to say Leao is worth 100 plus. They probably say Leao
No,
is
no,
like
no. He
90.
is probably worth around 70, 60,
Yeah, so
76.
this is the value here, and so basically what we're saying is that it's definitely reasonable and very like affordable.
Yeah, and I think the ultimate ideal scenario for me would be to have Zirkzee not as a number 9, but as a number 10 in a 4-2-3-1 system,
Oh, that oh my god, can you imagine that?
and have a striker in front of him.
Like,
I mean, from the Serie A, I've said it. My dream would be Scamacca and Zirkzee together. I think that duo would be incredible. That'll be my dream duo. For who is available, I like the Lukaku idea. Um, I think
that
any of those other players we're linked to would be good too.
Yeah, there's also other news that we can talk about the striker that came out later in the day. Also, I just before we, I want to talk more about Zirkzee. Um, yeah, so it looks like there's really strong Milan interest now. He's obviously in the Netherlands international player, but he wasn't called to the Euros. Really, the only thing about him that is, I guess, concerning is he hasn't proven that he can be a like top prolific player in terms of the goals, but he has a lot of talent. So I think it's overall, like I've already said my opinion, but that's my only concern. Um, Also, let me see if we can find his
Before you do that, let me say happy birthday to Ace. Guys, this news came on the best day, a great gift for me on my birthday. Happy birthday,
happy
Ace.
birthday. Let's
I
go.
love this signing, but we still need more upfront. Maybe CDK or another striker will be needed 100%. Okay. Happy birthdays.
So let me see his
What? Who's slandering Zirkzee?
probably people. It's Paul. Yeah, it's the voices in his head. No, just kidding, just kidding. But this is so this club history. This says, oh yeah, this is counting last year as well. I think they're giving him. No, sorry, this is all competitions, I believe. Or I don't know why it's 14 because before I thought it was just 12, but they're giving him a few more things. I think it's because maybe of this either the end of I don't know when he joined Bologna, like if it was last year, but anyways, this is his history. He was at Parma for a bit as well, and these are all the clubs he's played at. He was Bayern Munich youth. He did really well with Anderlecht in Belgium. He had 18 goals there in 47 games, so basically in a season, and 13 assists. Again, it's the Belgian league, but it's promising. And he was a good youth player. He had a good reputation, so at a really good academy. So I think overall, like decent history, and at least he's played in the Serie A, and I mean, we've seen him the way that he holds up the ball, and it's really, really, really top class the way he does that. So I think overall, I'm pretty optimistic.
Yeah. So here, Rafik says, I like Zirkzee. He's quick and can link up and most importantly, challenge defenders. Giroud was slow, only negative his aerial abilities. Well, but Giroud still had a major impact, especially that season we won the league, like scoring those goals against Inter, against Napoli, those clutch goals. Those are things that, Giroud has in his baggage because, he's a World Cup winner. He's won the Champions League. He's got all this experience. So there's a lot of value in Giroud. Technically speaking, yeah, in theory, Zirkzee should bring more value from a technical standpoint. But as far as persona, Giroud is not, he is a heavy person. It's not someone that you can just take for granted, I think. Zirkzee and Salad came from the same academy school together, I think. Oh, anything else about Zirkzee, Antonio?
No, not really. That's just like the news. But I was gonna go into the striker position. But if you want to talk about something else, go ahead.
Yeah, real fast. So Saelemaekers is coming back to Milan. It looks like Milan and Bologna have not found a deal.
Oh, I hope we keep him.
So yeah, that's the question. Should Saelemaekers stay or should he go? In my opinion, especially with the way Fonseca plays, that's a no-brainer. You keep Saelemaekers. But let's see what other people think in chat. And what do you think, Antonio?
Oh, I actually wait. Which source said that? Because I'm busy
It
working.
was on Semper Milan.
Okay, interesting. I wonder how. Yeah, so I thought that as of like a few days ago, things were going through there, but yeah, I guess things might have changed. I hope we keep him. I don't think the management's going to keep him. Maybe it may depend on Fonseca. Like maybe Fonseca will maybe like when we start training again, which will be in a little while. So it depends. I would hope that they give him a chance and they give Fonseca a chance to see him and to make that decision. But if you look at what he did with Bologna, I don't. Let me actually check his stats. I don't think. I mean, again, he's not like a forward attacking full attacking player, but he had a few really good moments. His free kicks and his finishing look really good. And the way he was like moving and I mean, again, Bologna was playing beautiful football this season. So overall, like, I liked what I saw from him, and I would definitely take him because he puts in a lot of good work rate that you need and covers a lot of space.
Yeah, for sure. And this is something that if the management was smart, they would do. But because they're not smart, they're probably going to pick the most offensive player in the world, and the team is going to be incredibly balanced towards the offense, and we're going to concede a lot of goals. Not understanding that if you have a Saelemaekers on the pitch, you're going to concede less goals. But because they don't understand this, this is probably their biggest sin. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully Fonseca can be a little bit wise here and find a way how to incorporate Saelemaekers because you can use them technically and tactically. I think Saelemaekers would probably want to stay at Bologna because he would probably get to play as a starter there. In Milan, I don't know if he would if he would play as a starter. But honestly, since Fonseca likes to play these right fullbacks that go all the way up, who better than Saelemaekers, who knows how to play both defense and attack really well?
You
So
know, yeah.
I would go for Saelemaekers because I have a brain. I don't know if they would. Larry, you're here. What's up, bro?
Yeah, I just want to say something about Saelemaekers. Bologna is not gonna get him because I think he has a really high salary as well. So it's hard for them to match the salary that Milan is paying. When I say really high, of course, really high for Bologna, not for Milan. And another thing is probably they realize that the team needs a bit of balance. They need players that actually run and they cover the pitch. They don't need dribblers, especially in big games. Uh, Plus, I think he's really friend with the striker, the Dutch striker. So maybe they're using that card to convince Zirkzee to sign for Milan. I don't know. These are options. Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you clearly.
Um,
So
yeah.
that can make sense as well.
Yeah. Honestly, I was just thinking about where I don't know if he came back because obviously you have Pulisic and Leao on the wings. I'm wondering if maybe he could play as a central midfielder, almost even as like a number 10, maybe a bit deeper, like someone who goes up.
Well, hold on. I have a perfect position for him. Yeah. Like if you listen, the second season when Fonseca realized in Italy that you got to defend, and he changed to a 3-4-3 with three static defenders in the back. He changed to a 3-4-3. That was his last season, playing a 3-4-3. If he does that with Milan in the line of four, Saelemaekers as that number 4 is perfect. That's his position. It can't be any better.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
He can
no,
play.
I wasn't thinking of a 3-4-3 to be honest, but yeah.
Even the the 4-3-3, Saelemaekers can play as a third midfielder or as
Yeah,
a
that's what I was
right
thinking.
wing. Um, I mean, he's always been kind of an hybrid. He's never been like fully defined in one position. I never seen him like a perfect for one specific position. He's
Yeah,
kind of an hybrid. He can play a
yeah.
different position and hit the 7 as a rate, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I was thinking of him in like a 4-3-3 being like because I saw him with Bologna. I really liked him when he was like just moving around, going to the center, and then also like he was switching sides. He looked really like free, and he was always like, he runs around a lot, so it was good. I liked him in the center as well to give him more of an option instead of just
And
always the wing.
he has a good ball recovery. He recovers a lot of balls and he's good with the high press. So he can do that, but we don't know if Milan will keep him. Maybe Milan will send him on loan in another team because
Yeah,
he's out
I
of the
don't think
plans.
I
Yeah,
don't think
let's
they're
see that.
intelligent enough. Like, I honestly don't think they're intelligent enough to keep him.
I hope they get rid of Chukwueze. They send Chukwueze on loan somewhere and keep Saelemaekers because I think it's more
I
useful than
think that
Chukwueze.
would be better. I think that would be better if they do that. But
Yeah.
let's see what happens. A few questions here. So actually, first thing, Christian says more news came out. Milan are working on Broja from Chelsea and Artem Davbik
Yeah,
from
I was
Verona
gonna get
FC.
to that. I was
All
gonna
right,
get to
go
that.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But also, let me just quickly look up what's his name, Saelemaekers' stats, just because I want to see how he did this year. He played.
It-
He has 4 goals and 3 assists, and he
In
only
24 games, yeah.
yeah, 30 appearances, but probably not. Yeah, he didn't play it as much.
Yeah,
It,
but
it,
with Saelemaekers, we know him. It's really not about that. It's not about the
no, no,
goals.
but he missed the start of the season because the transfer went like at the end of August, so he missed like at least 10 games with Bologna. Remember that. He
Yeah.
didn't play the first 10 games.
Okay, so we can discuss this. So the other piece of news with the striker position is that Di Marzio tweeted, and I'll get another tweet as well temporarily, but he basically said that Milan is also looking at Dovbrik and Broja as 2 other alternatives. Dovbrik also has a 40 million release clause, and so it looks like they're considering him as well. And now, this source here says there's also a verbal agreement. So basically, what I'm thinking, I think I have to read exactly what DiMarco said, which I can do while you guys maybe share your opinion. But I'll also pull up Dovbrick's stats, and then we can discuss Broya as well.
Well, listen, this is what I heard, that because Milan has said that has told Bologna they're going to activate the release clause for Zirkzee. They have personal terms agreed with Zirkzee. The only thing that they're missing is this agent fee, right? And maybe Milan, they don't know whether it's going to happen. Therefore, they're keeping an eye on these other guys. These are the alternatives in case the Zirkzee operation doesn't happen. This is how this news has been reported today.
Yeah.
Well, we need two though. We need two strikers. We cannot do
Oh, I agree with that.
just
I
with
agree.
Circus.
I
We
think
need
if you
another
get,
guy.
I think if you get this guy and you get Zirkzee, I mean, you can play with 2 strikers. You can play with Zirkzee as a 10. You can also alternate them depending on the game. Like,
No, he cannot be a 10. Come on, guys.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah, it's not a 10.
I think from the way I saw him play, he does win physical battles. So he does have a physicality about him where you can play him as a 10, but if the coverage is Loftus Cheek and Reindeers, then forget about it. Don't stay. You don't even try. If you get him serious coverage in the midfield, maybe it can work.
He cannot play as a number 10. People confuse the ability to be a number 10 and actually do the number 10 position. The number 10 position is different from going deep and getting the ball. That is more like a striker trying to get rid of the defenders to get the ball and go with a through ball or whatever. That's not being a number 10. That's being a striker that likes to come deep, which is a completely different position. The number 10 actually needs to be between the lines, which is more difficult because the midfielder is marking the number 10 and the defender is marking the number 10, which is a
That's
different
what
thing.
he does. That's what he does. He plays
No,
between
because
the lines.
he's marked by the defender. He just leaves the defender and goes to get that ball deep, which is completely different position.
Well,
not
I
the
think
same.
I think you can do it. I disagree with that. I think you can do it,
It's
but I think that if you have to be clever on how you put the team around him, because there is an imbalance for sure. But if you cover him, it's like having 2 strikers essentially. If you
Yeah, he
cover
can do
him,
this. He can do the second striker, but not the number 10. The number 10 is a different position.
yeah, but he does play deeper than like a 10, I would say. At least with us, he played really deep. He would come down really deep to play with the midfield. I mean, I really observed him when he played against us, and he was playing really deep against us. Again, I think it's possible, but he has to be covered. You need to have runners next to him that are gonna fighters like bulldogs. You can't have Benacer and Reindeers, Ali and Loftus Cheek and these guys. These guys are ballerinas. They're gonna get cooked.
I
That's my
think
opinion.
he plays he plays the striker position a bit like Ibra used to play it, or Harry Kane. Harry Kane does that as well. Comes deep to get the ball. It's just the type of striker that he is. He has good feet. So strikers with good feet, they like to come deep and play with the ball. They enjoy the 1-2, the dribbling, that thing. But it's not a number 10. Number 10 has a vision, has a different type of vision. He's more
Well,
like a
yes.
second striker.
But hold on. When I say number 10, I don't mean like the guy that does the through balls and plays like that. I mean just as functional, because even the number 10 that we have now is Loftus Cheek. He's not a real number 10. He's more like a
A
hybrid,
midfielder.
a midfielder, right? So the number 10 is not like the classic number 10. It's just like a player with Zirkzee characteristics in that zone. Can he work there? I think there are chances. But listen, one thing for sure, Bo, is that Fonseca plays with one striker. So it's going to be a one man striker. Either it's 4-3-3, 3-4-3, or 4-2-3-1. So either Zirkzee plays as the number 10 or the striker. So if he comes, most likely it's the striker. But if not, those are the only two positions he can play.
He's gonna be the striker, and that's it. He's gonna be the striker because our number 10, he needs to be good at recovering the ball, and strikers usually are not good at recovering the ball. They can press, they can give everything, but they're not like extremely good at recovering the ball.
So what do you, if he is the only striker, how do you think that's going to go?
Oh no, he's not gonna be the only striker. We're gonna have at least two strikers, and I'm not counting Okafor on that type of striker. So hopefully it's him and another one that we get on a free or on a cheap.
Yeah. We'll see. So the other names are Broya. Who are the other names? The guy
By the
from
way, yeah, there's Broy is the main other one. By the way, so for those who don't know, Dobrik is a tall, prolific scorer. He's plays with Girona. Was the almost top scorer of La Liga with Bellingham, maybe like slightly behind him, and he's like one of those pure center forwards. So that's a bit of background on him. And yeah, Broya was the other guy that I guess Milan. They're both alternatives to Zirkzee, so they're not really the main options, but they're both people that they're ready to trigger. So if Zirkzee falls through,
yeah. If Zirkzee is the only striker, let's say if he is the main striker and he's sharing duties with Jovic and maybe another guy, then in that case, I wonder who the number 10 will be. Who do you guys think the number 10 will be? Will it still be Loftus Cheek?
I mean,
Yeah, I assume so.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, probably there is a chance he doesn't play with the number 10. He plays with three midfielders. That's it. So one of the three midfielders will be a bit more offensive, but not like Pioli does.
So the line, you see the line Leao, Zirkzee, Pulisic, and then the midfield. How do you see the midfield?
Midfield, I see Benacer, Fofana. They're talking about, and maybe Ruben.
The way I see it, that's most likely what will happen is the news defensive midfielder, which we can talk about.
I see.
Loftus Cheek
and
Reinders.
Yeah.
What? Say again, Antonio?
Oh, if I had to make a prediction now, I would say the defensive midfielder that we get, the new one, Loftus-Cheek and Reinders, most likely.
Mm, yeah,
What?
it'll be interesting. Honestly, really, what they're going to have to do is to solidify the defensive structure of the team. Um, So I'm really curious what they're going to do. I'm really curious what they're going to do in the midfield. But I think Zirkzee, if they can land Zirkzee, that's a good start offensively, at least it sends a good message to the Serie A because you're getting one of the best players of the Serie A. It's a good message to the other teams. It's a Serie A proven player. He knows the Serie A. He's played in the Serie A. He's done well in the Serie A. He's very young, 23. So this is perfect for Redbird. Buy low because they are buying low because of that release clause. It's perfect for them. If it wasn't for the release clause, he would cost much more. Sell high, 23. This is a perfect Moneyball operation for them. Also, it's within the monetary confines. 40 million for a striker, 40, 50 million for a striker is more or less what they would like to spend. So it works out. So I think this is a perfect marriage to me. I am still of the opinion that I would personally, this is my opinion, you don't have to agree with it. I would vision a Zirkzee as a number 10 with a striker. Like Zirkzee Lukaku, Zirkzee Skamaka, something like that. I think then you have a lethal attack. If you just bring in Zirkzee, I wouldn't call it a lethal attack.
Yeah, I mean, I get your point, but that is more like playing with two strikers.
Yeah, you can
So
envision it. Sure, you can envision it as two
more,
strikers. Yeah, because
and
at the
one
end of
of
it,
them, Zerk, is more free to go.
at the end of the day, the only way something like that can work is that the midfielders need to be midfielders that know how to break legs. That's the only way it can work. So, if you do that, you also have to fix the midfield.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna show highlights on this stream, but about the strikers, but we can discuss next piece of news. If you
You
guys
want
want.
to lose the stream? Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's all right. I wanted to bring up this. Moving on from the striker, there's also Broya, who we didn't talk about. Do you guys want to talk about Broya, or should we just move on?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just rumors. So if it's rumors, we don't need to talk about rumors.
I mean, they're all rumors in a way, but I wanted to discuss the defensive midfielder because I saw a pretty interesting thing today. I don't know if you guys saw it. Let's talk about Fofana. Also, we should also look at chat. We can talk about this now. Before though, so Fabregas was interviewed. He's the coach of Como, who got promoted, and he said that he really likes Fofana, and he would be good for the style of in England, the Premier League. And he heard also that he's most likely to go to Milan. Um, and he said that maybe Fonseca also rates him. Essentially, that's what he said. So he's been hearing that Milan is the most likely destination for him. Take it with take that with however much credibility you want. He played with Fofana because Fabregas I think retired or like didn't retire, but he towards the end of his career went to Monaco. So yeah, there's another link with him. I mean, so far there hasn't really been any other DM target that's linked as heavily as this guy. I've heard about Renato Vega who plays in Germany, but that's more of like the links are nowhere near as strong. So this guy is the number one target for the CDM. And before you guys, I mean, we can all talk about it. He is more of like he's listed as a box to box, and if you watch him play, he has like a few goals as well, so he's able to go up. But his best attribute is like his strength, and so people are trying to compare him to players like Kessie. I don't know if you can do that type of comparison, but Yeah, like he's that type of player. He's very strong, and he also is able to go up and contribute as well into the attack. So he's interesting. Have you seen this guy, Roy? Do you have any thoughts?
What's his name?
Fofana.
No, his first name.
Yusuf, I believe.
I don't know much about him, but I just want to see something. Yusuf Fofana.
He's, I think, 25.
Okay, let's see.
Fabregas out here like Fabrizio.
Okay, interesting. I think this would be a good signing. I mean, he's a player that plays in the French national team. He's part of that group, and I think in order to be of that group, you have to be strong. So I am all about national team players. I think that's the way to do it. So if they land them, I don't think it's a bad signing, though.
Did you look him up or something? Any stats or?
No, I'm looking at his history with France. It's okay. It's not great. It's good. It's not amazing. But I usually, one of the things that I use to see the value of the player is the history of the national team, from the youth to adults. If these guys are called up consistently, that means that the federations sees these guys as the best players in the country, and those are the players you want. So he's are kind of humble, but they're not bad either. And he's part of the French national team. So I think those are good indicators that he is a player capable of doing the job.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, he's very interesting, and I think he has what it takes to fill that role. Part of me is tempted to get like almost like someone who's so defensive, because we need to not concede with Fonseca, and whoever we get has to really commit to that role, because it's probably the most important position, honestly, with the way Fonseca is going to play, because we need some stability there and someone that can slow them down so we don't get ran through all the time. I think he can be that person, but again, for me, the only thing that's concerning is, when we played with a 4-2-3-1, we had two pivot midfielders. Tonali was really good because he had, in my opinion, a really good combination of strength, like energy, stamina to run around. Like, physically he was strong. He would be able to win balls. He was flexible, and he was really quick as well. And
I think he was one of the fastest players in Europe.
Yeah, extremely fast.
He's one of the fastest players in Europe.
Yeah, 100%. And when I see this guy play, I don't think he's as quick.
Well, Kessie wasn't quick either. It's really not about. Listen, I mean, and then defending, sure, like Tonali, the way he defends, running all over the place and always keeping a high intensity for 90 minutes, that's a luxury, right? But you can be smart on how you play. You can time things. It's about timing. It's about space. If he has the brain to cover the spaces and reserve his energies and do it efficiently, then that's how you do it. Tonali is a little bit unique because he had this ability to be all over the pitch, and also Tonali is a very versatile player. He can play in a diamond. He could play in all four positions really in a diamond.
Yeah, so I just hope that this guy can cover like enough space, especially like on the counter. But I mean, I don't see why not. Like I don't see why he can't do it, but
I don't think it's enough, though.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think it's enough because you need minimum two defensive midfielder. Only one defensive midfielder in the team. That's not enough.
I mean, like other teams, I've seen teams that are able to pull it off with a really good defensive midfielder, but they also have like wingers who can track back and like other midfielders that help, but not like defensive midfielders per se. But so like that's true, but I mean it depends on whether or not it also depends on how your defense plays. If you play with a high line.
but in the course of the season, you can't just go with one.
Oh yeah. In terms of like we need to sub him out, of course.
Yeah, you can't just have one. Like that's just numerically, you need minimum two, preferably 3 midfielders, but maybe a versatile midfielder that can also do that. But you definitely need to bring in a defensive midfield culture into the team. If you don't have that, we're going to just be concede tons of goals.
Yeah, no, I agree. We need two. I would get 2 strikers and 2 defensive midfielders, to be honest, and 1 right back, and 1 center back, and I think we're in good shape. But
I mean, listen, preferably Amrabat. I think Amrabat would be
oh yeah,
the best player. I think Amrabat would be the best pick. If you bring in Amrabat, I think that's the biggest message you can send to the Serie A. If you bring in Amrabat and Fofana, but then the midfield changes here. Now the identity of a midfield changes. So, Fonseca here has to compromise with he has to be okay with a little bit of ugly football here and there.
yeah,
If he doesn't compromise with that, guys, it's going to be it's going to look ugly. He better compromise one way or the other.
yeah. No, I agree. Let's see. Do you have any news to share, by the way, that you saw today? Oh, also Camarda, did he renew or did he sign today, or did he also sign?
Yeah,
I
Camarda is renewing. Yeah, Camarda is
heard that
renewing.
it's basically like just a matter of like days or whatever, either tomorrow or the day after. Um, yeah. Oh, yeah. I just saw. The contract is all agreed, and they just have to actually get him to sign.
Yeah.
There was some news about De Ketelaere, and that Milan doesn't want to renegotiate, and so
I was thinking about De Ketelaere, and I mean, honestly, De Ketelaere, if he's ready, he'd be a good signing for Milan. If he is the De Ketelaere we saw at Atalanta, if he can finally do that at Milan, then I think he would also be a good signing.
yeah. I think he. Yeah, I mean, the only thing is, where would you play him? If you, I think he has to be like a striker. I don't know. Would you put him at a number 10 again? I don't know. Like,
No, I'd be if I mean, look, I think he played as they play with 2 strikers, right? They play with a 3-4-1-2, correct? Isn't that how they play at Atalanta?
yeah, yeah, or 3, yeah, or 3-4-3. But he was either playing like right, like he plays like a right cam, but like right striker almost. Like,
Yeah. I think if you have him do more or less what Pulisic was doing, then he can pretty much do the same thing that he did with Atalanta. I mean, I don't know, but if you have him playing that position, I think he can also defend better than Pulisic. Actually, output wise, they're pretty much similar, except the CDK defends better. So maybe, hey, look, maybe bringing back CDK would be wise. You put him on that right side. If he can get up to 20 goal assist contributions like he did with Atalanta on that right side, that's
yeah,
an operation that went well.
yeah. It's interesting because there's a lot of players that are coming back, and I wonder how this all of this also is really going to be impacted by what happens with Fonseca. And because we've seen these guys with Milan under Pioli, but to be fair, I mean, we do have to wait and see. You have to give him his chance to develop and use the players. So he could do a worse job than Pioli, that he could do a better or better job with some players too. So
Yeah, ultimately, I think our Achilles heel is going to be the fact that the mentality might be an issue. The ultimate level, the mentality of the squad might be an issue. That's probably going to be the Achilles heel. And Fonseca, I think Fonseca is going to just be the status quo guy. I don't know if this kind of mentality can really produce an elite winning team. I think it's much more There's much more. It's deeper than that. So I think that is ultimately going to be our Achilles heel. But if you get good players for the right positions, at least you're going to play some good games.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the soccer score, or I said soccer, whatever. I say soccer. I say that because I'm in the U.S. But looking at the scores from yesterday and today, and like, oh my God, what the heck is Mexico doing? They got battered.
Well,
Like,
Uruguay is a strong team.
oh
Very
yeah, of
strong.
course. But yeah, Mexico really got humiliated. It was 3-0 in the first half.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
fans were always there. And Netherlands also beat. Oh yeah, Jesse Marsh's Canada got absolutely whipped today.
Oh, really? What was the score?
I'm checking now. Actually, I didn't watch the game, but I've been hearing they had like a friendly today. Let me check. 4-0. By the way, Memphis Depay, I would take him for free.
Yeah, I think him and Zirkzee are very similar as players. Um, I mean, maybe one or the other, or both. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think get as many quality players as you can.
Yeah. So, what about you? What was your opinion on Fofana?
No, I mean I think he's definitely a good target. For what we need, he can be the guy. It's pretty clear, and he's one of the better defensive midfield prospects. He's more again. He's like kind of like a box to box. He's not a pure defensive midfielder, but he can be a pure defensive midfielder if he gets if you put him there. I think he can develop there, and
Yeah,
I like that.
I think it brings more balance. Ultimately, honestly, this is the thing, right? It's really about solving a general puzzle. What is the general puzzle? The general puzzle is a very simple one. How do you become the team that concedes the least amount of goals of the league? That is what you want to work towards to solving that puzzle. Now, based on how Fonseca plays, he can do this in a bunch of ways. Either be one of those outliers, right? Because there is this 2%, 1% of outliers that does win the league, and be in maybe either the second, maximum third team with the most goals conceded, least goals conceded. But these are very small percentages. So there is that. You can either be that team right there, or more pragmatically, you got to figure out a tactical system that doesn't allow you to concede goals. So how are you going to do that when you envision both your fullbacks going all the way up the field, two midfielders going all the way up the field, the central striker playing as a connection to the wingers, and basically you just have one midfielder and two central defenders covering the rest of the field behind you. How do you solve that issue? Either you have the best players, which you don't have. You don't have the best players. Or you have really good defensive players. And do we have really good defensive players? That's the question. I don't know. I don't know. So ultimately, if you really, do the mathematics here, what we're probably going to see from Fonseca next season is entertaining football. We're going to win games in a convincingly manner, especially against the smaller teams.
Well, let's be careful though, because I feel like we could also struggle against all the top 10 sides in Italy.
Oh, and for sure, we're going to struggle against all the top 10 sides, for sure. That's no doubt about it. Because that's really where the coaches that we're going to be playing against, at least most of them, are like two classes above Fonseca, first of all. And also, the teams that we're playing against are not pushover teams. So, you know, what I'm saying is most likely he's going to have success against the smaller teams because he's just going to outplay them and out-quality. Even if we're going to get scored 2 goals, we're going to score 4, 4-2, 3-1, 3-2, 4-1, 2-1. You know, it's never going to be 3-0, 2-0, 4-0, 5-0. So it's going to be 5-2, 4-2, 3-2, 3-1. But against the bigger teams, most likely that is going to invert. So he needs to figure out how to solve that. How do you solve that, Antonio? Come on, figure it out.
No, I mean, I'm just concerned as well because Fonseca wants to play attacking football, but the way you solve it is you need to have a lot of quality, like you said. So either you get a really good center back, a really good DM, and you try to get Reinders or Loftus-Cheek or whoever, whatever the midfield is. Get maybe one of the other midfielders has to also put more emphasis on defending because you can't have both Loftus-Cheek and Reinders being like Loftus-Cheek was a number 10 last year, and Reinders was going, he was not getting involved in defending as much either. So you need to have a little bit more help from there as well if you want to play a 4-3-3. If you play with a 3-4-3, then you're a little bit more stable. If you play with a 3-4-3 and Fofana in the midfield, you're also very stable. You can play Reinders, Fofana, or 3-4-1-2, whatever you want to do. But I think it depends. I think he'll play with the back 4 from what I'm hearing. So I'm just assuming that I think he's going to – I just don't envision a situation where he doesn't start Reinders and even Loftus-Cheek. I don't know how much he'll love Loftus-Cheek, but if he doesn't start Loftus-Cheek, whoever else he puts, maybe Benacer would be enough to bring balance in a 4-3-3. But I think you just need to have – their center backs cannot play like they did last year. I always rated Chow. I think he'll have a better year. I think he just had a really poor season with a lot of inconsistencies with injuries, and he just wasn't himself mentally as well. But you get another center back like Hummels or another good center back. You get Fofana, and you fix the midfield a little bit, and I think that's a good start. But yeah, it's easier said than done, and it depends also on what he wants to do and how he wants to play. So, yeah.
Like, honestly, if I envision like a perfect Serie A team right now, I would say like the players that you'd want to get would be Cup Miners, Amrabat, Zirkzee, Scamacca.
Imagine
And-
him like a 3-5-2 or even, or like let's just say 3-5-2. You put Scamacca and Zirkzee up top. You put Coal
Yeah.
Miners, Amrabat, and some other.
I mean, I'd if Amrabat and Fofana, Cup Miners, Amrabat, Fofana.
Yeah, whoever, And then you put like Theo Hernandez on the left. You put like whoever you want to put on the right, honestly.
Di Lorenzo, he's available.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh my God, that's insane. That will require an overhaul of our squad, though. But
Calafiori, these then the defenders.
Yep.
Scalvini, if he was healthy. But you could really build a super duper team with some of the players that are right now in the Serie A.
Oh yeah, that team would definitely. That would be. You could honestly. That might be like a Champions League competing team. Not they have to prove themselves, but that's up there.
On Polish news, they said Milan interested in right back Matty Cash from Aston Villa and goalkeeper Marcin Bujka from Nice.
I saw this. Yeah.
So if we're linked to a goalkeeper, that pretty much says something about Bagyan. Which, by the way, there have been links.
The links are that if Man City gets rid of Ederson They like Magnan. And if that happens, we're going to replace him with this Polish guy who plays for Nice. But I don't know. I've also heard linked with some other goalkeepers too. I don't know that so far though. The only team interested has been Man City, and that's contingent upon if they sell Ederson. So I don't, that's sort of like a little bit of a big rumor right now. I'm trying to think of the other links. I mean, I haven't seen too many teams that are strongly after him. He didn't have the best seasons, maybe that's why, and he is always injured as well. So, but yeah, his stock has dropped a bit since the Scudetto season. I wonder how much we could get for him if we sold him, because if we
I don't know him, so I can't really have an opinion on this guy, guys. I've just been hearing about him lately.
Who? Cash?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking about the goalkeeper.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. No, I know. People are saying he's a right back, but yeah, I know he's a right back. Yeah, Cash. I've seen him play before. I watched when you watch international football. He's the starting right back for Poland, so I've seen him.
Okay.
He's solid. Isn't I don't know if he's much better than Calabria, but
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen him, so I don't know. Abdi had some good words for him.
yeah, I mean, again, he's plays in the Premier League, so take it with.
But the other right back we are being linked to is Emerson Royale, and not many people are happy about that.
Yeah, to be fair, like for Emerson Royale and for Matty Cash, I haven't watched them too much this year.
Yeah.
Thiago Santos definitely passes the eye test.
Thiago Santos is a very good dribbler. I gotta say, he's got very good technique. Let's see how he would do in Italy, because we saw Dest do all that stuff in Spain, but then when he came to Italy, he struggled a lot. So let's see if he can do that in Italy.
Yeah, but yeah. Honestly, I think I don't want to. This doesn't have to be a super long live. We can close in a bit. I'm trying to think of any other big news. Did you see anything else that was worth talking about?
No, I mean it's really Zirkzee. I think Zirkzee is a good step in the right direction as far as buying players. Ultimately, guys, at the end, I think for me to be convinced that we have any chance of being a serious team next season, we got to see what we do with the midfield. We got to see what we do with defense. We got to see how the defensive structure of the team is going to be. And that is something that in Italy, man, the Italian coaches are the fucking masters of that. I don't know how Fonseca is going to do it, because Fonseca doesn't have a pedigree in that. Fonseca didn't do it while he was in Italy. He didn't need to do it in Ukraine. In Nice, he wasn't asked to win trophies. He was asked to just develop players. In Italy, you got to have a defensive culture, even if you play offensive football. And he's going up against coaches that are way better than him at that, no doubt about it. So my question is, this year, is how do you solve that puzzle? And that's where really I think the issue is going to be. So let's see how they figure that out.
Yeah. There's also just some general Serie A news.
Oh yeah, okay. What's that? Yeah, let's do a round of that. Let's do a round of that, and then we'll close.
You have Italiano going to Bologna, which is what we all speculated. You have Palladino going to Fiorentina.
Nice. That's good.
Yep. You have Tudor, who left Lazio, so now they're looking for a coach. Sarri has rejected a Panathinaikos, I believe.
Yeah.
He's still available. And let's see. I can look through any other news of you. I've heard Inter has been linked with a few players. They've been linked with Serie A players. Okoye, the goalkeeper from Udinese. I like that goalkeeper a lot. They're looking for a post Jan Sommer as well, because Sommer is on the older side. Honestly, though, whatever goalkeeper they get is going to look fantastic for them. because of how good they are defensively. But yeah, Juventus is working for cult miners.
They got Di Gregorio. They want to get Calafiori. If Juventus gets those three players, Cup Miners, Calafiori, Di Gregorio, I mean, they already surpassed us at that point. They will surpass us. That means, and Thiago Motta, I think that's just like, yeah, forget it. So we need to have a strong response. So if Juventus gets Cup Miners, Calafiori, and so essentially what Juventus is getting, the best coach of the season, the best midfielder or one of the best midfielders, one of the top three, Calafiori, the best defender, and the best goalkeeper. Like that's like already, all right, there's like, okay, that's four of the best. That's a big step forward. That's a really big step forward. So Milan has to have something similar to that. It can't be just these fake players, Moneyball players. It has to be real this time. Zirkzee is a real player, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah. By the way, I just saw this tweet that was talking about Camarda, and they were saying that Camarda almost, I don't know if they said that in an interview he said something about Benzema or if they're just speculating, but they're saying that he studied like the way Benzema plays, and he plays very similar.
Yeah, interesting.
Camarda, man, I watched the game highlights because I was busy yesterday, and that first goal was insane.
Listen, I gotta say that team. I mean, Camarda is incredible, and I was really paying attention to his feet and how he moves the ball, and he is such a good player. Camarda is crazy, like how good he is, and and he is on the younger side, but he looks like he's one of the oldest on how he plays and also physically. So that's also needs to be said. I think he was the youngest player of the tournament, or the second youngest player of the tournament, something like that. So these are incredible things coming from Camarda. But the whole team, Liberali is incredible, and Mosconi is incredible. Kama, the right back, is phenomenal.
Goalkeeper, like he was injured for the final, but the Milan goalkeeper, I watched him against England. He saved like 4 or 5 goals.
And listen, yeah, that game, but he played the other games too, and he had some clutch saves in all games. Longoni, the goalkeeper, absolutely phenomenal. Then the defenders, so Benjamin on the left, he plays in Real Madrid. So this, like Natali, the center back, he plays for Barcelona in their youth academies. So, and then you have Juventus players, you have Inter players, you have Roma players, you have Napoli players. It's like really high level players. That generation there is insane. This is the third tournament they win. They won 2 U16 developmental tournaments last year, and now they won the U17. So it just says that that's a good group of players. It's a good generation. Hopefully in Serie A, they don't screw it up and they allow these players to grow properly into Serie A teams with important roles, because all of these players are him. It's all a bunch of himothies, So,
by the way, look who's back.
Lucas, what's up? How you doing?
Lucas, come on the lives in the summer when we do them. But look at this question. I know what your answer to this is going to be.
No, for me, it's Mavericks, 100%.
Aren't you a Celtics fan?
I'm a Celtics fan, but I really like the Mavericks. I mean, Doncic is such an incredible basketball player. He's a lot of fun to watch. And also, Kyrie Irving is incredible.
You said Irving. It's Irving.
Yeah, Irving, like he's incredible. And the whole team is incredible. I haven't seen Boston much this year, but if Boston wins, I don't care.
I am a diehard Chicago Bulls fan, and so unlike Roy, I support my team. So I don't cheer for any other teams, but the Mavericks, in terms of who I'd prefer to win, the Mavericks definitely for me. I mean, Boston has won like too many titles anyways. Boston always plays my team in the East, and they're always really annoying. and they've had a Mickey Mouse run. I don't hate them as much as other people do, but for me, I love Kyrie. Luka as well is very good, and I like Luka's like personality. I think he's like he knows how to be humble and also at the same time be like competitive and really good. Other players are kind of get annoying, but I like Luka and Kyrie as well. Like Kyrie is so underrated.
And also the two the centers.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean,
Gafford,
they have a
Gafford,
really good Derek Lively and
Derek Lively, and Gafford.
yeah, like they have a really balanced team. PJ Washington,
really good. Yeah.
like their role players are really good. But yeah, I mean, I'm just speaking on why I like the Mavs, especially. I think I've been watching Kyrie for a while. I think he's so underrated. Like when the Cavs won with LeBron, Kyrie was insane in those last games.
But then also Doncic, how can you not like?
Oh yeah, well Doncic is the best.
Doncic is a fucking incredible.
Yeah, Doncic is incredible. I'm just saying personally, I love the way Kyrie plays. His fundamentals are so good, like his shooting, dribbling, finishing. It's insane. But yeah. So let's close soon because I'm actually have to go to dinner. But here's a few things. Another thing that I found that was interesting. Looks like Nesta is going to coach Monza.
Ooh, nice. Wow, that's a good job for him. That's a really good job for him. Good for him.
Was he coaching? Wasn't he in like Serie B or something?
Yeah, I think it was Serie B. So this is a really good good step forward because Monza is an important team. Like your job is to stay in the Serie A and be, in the middle of the pack. That's not an easy task to do. And Nesta, let's see what Nesta's made out. He was incredible as a footballer. Let's see if he's just as good as a coach. Now is the time to find out.
Yeah.
Cannavaro also is going to be with Udinese. We're going to see Cannavaro from the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Also, Roma is renewing. Well, this was pretty much official, but they're renewing De Rossi. So
you're going to have Gilardino. You're going to have Cannavaro, Nesta, De Rossi. These are the guys that won the World Cup in 2006. So now they're getting their time in the Serie A. Let's see how they do. Let's see what they will look like. Let's see if these guys are the next big thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting. I think they've all done a good job, I mean, especially Gilardino. And other young coaches too in general, like Palladino.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing good.
Palladino to Fiorentina, I think that's good for Fiorentina. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think he's earned it. I mean, he's done well and he's achieved well, like in all of his seasons there. And he took a club that was promoted and he's pretty much established them as just outside of the top 10 basically in Italy.
Yeah. Listen, Palladino coming from Monza going to Fiorentina is a perfect step forward.
I'm excited. I wanted to see what he does with those players because I've always thought that they're not as bad as people say. I feel like I think they have interesting players in Fiorentina.
Yeah. I mean, let's see what he does. But the minimum he can do is stay in the Conference League, fight for the Europa League. But if he can stay there, Conference League area, I think he will have done a good job. Because the teams in front are better, I think, objectively speaking. And if he can overachieve, then maybe in 2 years he's ready for a big club.
Yeah, I think that's all of the biggest news. I don't think there's anything much.
Yeah. All right. Let's close. Let's guys. Thank you, everybody. So today the big news was Zirkzee, and we just wanted to talk about that. Let's see if this operation happens. Now they're saying that the agents are in the way, but we will be updated and keep everybody updated tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll definitely do something tomorrow because I'm off on Friday. So I am. If there's anything big that happens, I'll go live. Maybe even if nothing too big happens, but there's just some more news, I'll go live. So.
All right. Awesome. Good night. Peace out. Ciao. Forza Milan.
Ciao.